Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. If you haven't seen this series before, you're in for a treat. We're talking about the lore of Magic the Gathering. I read the books and basically summarize what happens in the story. I highly suggest you start back at part 1. This is part 9, so you have a lot of catching up to do. Just go do it now, it's right there. If you have seen this series before, I know, my bad, it's been too long. It won't happen again. Let's just get right back into it, shall we? Alright, refresher. Gerrard, the current captain of the Weatherlight, and his crew are on the Phyrexian plane of Rath. They're searching for their captain Sisay, who's been taken prisoner by Vrath, the overlord of the plane and servant of Yawgmoth. Upon arriving on Rath from Dominaria, the crew got into a heated sky battle and lost. Grevin, one of Volrath's commanders, took Karn, Tahngarth, and many of the legacy items after the battle was over. We enter the story just as the crew is reunited for the most part. Karn and Tahngarth have been rescued, and now everyone minus Sisay and Urtai are in the heart of Rath, tending to their awful wounds. Miri is about to die from blood loss after being stabbed by Selenia. Crovax is turning into some type of monster after being cursed by Selenia after he killed her. Tahngarth has been mutated by a flowstone laser while being tortured, and Urtai is hanging out by himself at a portal trying to figure out how to use it as an escape route while simultaneously chatting it up with shadow people. I remember why I took a long time to read this. How are any of these characters going to survive? It's unbelievable. Gerrard orders Karn and Tahngarth to carry Crovax and Miri back to the Weatherlight for some emergency care. He and Stark are going to continue the search for Sisay and Stark's daughter Takara. As Karn and Tahngarth are bringing their wounded companions to the ship, Karn senses that the legacy is close. Being a part of the legacy himself, he can tell when the rest of the pieces are nearby. In a frenzy, he tells Tahngarth to carry both Miri and Crovax back to the ship. Immediately after this, he books it. No idea where, but Tahngarth assumes that he knows what he's doing, so he keeps moving on. We'll come back to Karn. While all of this is going on, Hannah is left in charge of the Weatherlight. As she waits for her orders from Gerrard, a ghost phases into existence right in front of her on the deck of the ship. She immediately swings a sword at the being, but it's ineffective. The spirit comes close to Hannah, eventually forming what appeared to be a human female. She introduces herself as Lena of the Soltari. She tells Hannah that her people are working with Urtai to activate the portal they found and actually use it as an escape route. What she doesn't tell Hannah is that she intends to bring the Soltari people through the portal as well, but more on that later. Anyways, Lena warns Hannah that she must leave right then. There isn't much time before the portal activates and they have their only chance of escape. Hannah naturally refuses to leave anyone behind. Lena quickly grabs Hannah's throat. While she may look like a ghost, her hand is very real. She looks into Hannah's eyes and tells her again that they must leave right now. Hannah looks back for a moment, then gives her crew the order. It's at this time that Tahngarth leaps onto the ship with both Miri and Crovax in hand. Hannah tells him to inform Gerrard that they must meet at the gardens right then. There's no time to waste. A few moments pass and Hannah hears a loud scream. Immediately after that, Karn returns to the ship with a weird piece of metal. Apparently, he found a piece of the legacy he was looking for. The Sliver Queen was guarding it. We don't really get the details, but apparently Karn kind of just took the Sky Shaper from the Sliver Queen. I guess he can just do that. It's cool. Because there isn't enough going on, the Weatherlight is suddenly fired upon. From above, ropes with steel ends start crashing into the ship. The crew looks up and sees something they wish they hadn't. The Predator and its captain Grevin Ilvek are back. Hannah, realizing that they can't win a frontal assault, turns the Weatherlight around and runs for it, still connected to the Predator. As the Weatherlight picks up speed, the Predator hits various parts of the stronghold over and over again, killing goblins and just making Grevin real grumpy. While all of this is going on, Eladamri, along with all the native groups of Rath, are still assaulting the front gates. The battle has been long and bloody, but the Lord of Leaves sees victory ahead of them. They've gotten through the front gates and into the stone halls of the stronghold. This could be the end of Phyrexian rule on Rath. Back to the Weatherlight. Hannah, pulling the Predator wherever she wants, continues to slam it into stuff. Seriously, she's just jerking the Weatherlight around and setting the Predator into mountains and parts of the stronghold. It's actually kind of funny. After doing this for a while, she notices that the Predator has actually cut the ropes tying them together. This may be because the ship is on fire from hitting so much stuff. The Weatherlight increases speed, hoping to outrun the other ship. Ornithopters with goblin pilots pursue, but Hannah makes quick work of them with a new weapon she designed. It takes mana from the ship and focuses into a giant beam of light that sets the ornithopter and the goblin on fire. It's no big deal. Let's move back a bit and follow the other part of the story. Gerrard and Stark's journey from when they left Karn and Tangarth. The two of them keep searching the dream halls, looking for the passage to the tower where Sisay and Takara are being kept. As they make their way there, Gerrard notices something weird. There are Llanowar trees inside of the stronghold. He realizes that Volrath is slowly combining realms. His goal is to make Rath Dominaria and vice versa, literally overlaying the planes on top of each other. Shortly after this realization, the two of them are attacked by spikes. They fight for some time, but are eventually able to escape. After some more searching, they finally find the tower they've been looking for. Only one problem, there is no door. Gerrard and Stark begin climbing, as the only viable way in is a balcony at the top, of course. Anyways, climbing a tower made of flowstone that is constantly changing is pretty difficult, but eventually they make it. The second Gerrard steps foot in the tower, he is bombarded by visions. Memories from his childhood with Vwel, his blood brother who would eventually become Volrath. This next part is word for word from the book. Volrath has just basically materialized in front of Gerrard. "The War Clan was my future from the moment I first opened my eyes," said Volrath. "You took it all away when you saved me during my rite of passage. I never coveted your legacy, even though your destiny became my father's primary passion in life. His service to your legacy cost me a family, and you cost me a clan." Gerrard, outraged at this point, lunges at Volrath. Volrath dematerializes, and suddenly Sisay and Takara are standing right in front of Gerrard, ready to fight him. Sisay was now being controlled by Volrath, and Takara honestly didn't know any better. The fighting begins. Gerrard does the best he possibly can to avoid hurting either Sisay or Stark's daughter Takara. In the middle of the chaos, Stark tries to plead with his daughter to stop attacking. Not realizing who he really is, Takara slashes at Stark, cutting his eyes and blinding him. Eventually, Gerrard knocks Sisay out and disarms Takara. Gerrard immediately chases after Volrath, who has retreated down the stairs of the tower. He corners him in a passageway right when Tangarth shows up to provide support. They both slice at the Evan car, killing him. However, as his body falls to the floor, it turns into a twisted experiment. They realize that who they were fighting wasn't Volrath, and that he's probably already escaped the plane. Back on the Weatherlight, the crew makes its way to the gardens where they're supposed to meet up with Gerrard. Miri is still critically wounded and barely conscious. She lays in the infirmary, having terrible visions of Gerrard fighting alone. She agonizes over her inability to help her friends. She breaks out of her vision by smelling something rancid, something evil. She opens her eyes and sees Crovax standing before her. He smells like death, like Selenia. It doesn't take Miri long to realize that there's something seriously messed up with Crovax. He isn't the same person anymore. He moves to grab her throat, and Miri slashes at his face with her claws. A terrible battle begins. Miri and Crovax fight in the lower deck of the Weatherlight. Miri, barely hanging on to life at this point, is doing whatever she can to keep Crovax away from her. During this back and forth, Crovax keeps asking Miri to join him. He desperately tries to bite her neck over and over again. Eventually, Miri throws Crovax into the wall, but then as she's about to land the final blow, she passes out. Waking up only a few moments later, Miri sees Crovax escape to the upper deck of the Weatherlight. She limps after him, knowing that he's up to no good. Fighting has resumed on the upper deck as a second ornithopter is caught up with the ship. Miri notices Crovax messing around with the navigation system. It's clear that he's trying to disable the controls used to steady the wings of the ship. Miri tackles Crovax multiple times but can't overpower him. Crovax picks Miri up and throws her off the side of the ship. As she's about to fall, she grabs Crovax's wrist with her claws and pulls him overboard with her. They fall together thousands of feet to the gardens below. They both land and Miri passes out for a few moments again. When she comes to, Crovax has her pinned to the ground. Again, he says that she has to join him and rule this world together and a bunch of other nonsense. She tries to resist, but she's as close to dead as she can get at this point. Finally, Crovax bites into Miri's neck. She's immediately overcome with a sense of exhilaration, excitement, and warmth. The curse is spreading to Miri. It's right at this moment that Gerrard, Tangarth, Sisay, Stark, and Takara come running out of the stronghold. They're met in battle by none other than Grevin Ilvek and the Predator. Grevin jumps from the ship and begins fighting Gerrard. The rest of the crew from the stronghold begin to board the ship as Gerrard fends off Grevin. He calls to Miri multiple times, begging her to fight and get to the ship, but she can't move. Crovax has her pinned down. The cursed blood is flowing through her veins. In an instant, Gerrard kicks Grevin to the side and jumps for the ladder to the weatherlight. His and Miri's eyes meet, and it's clear what has to happen. Gerrard climbs the ladder to safety, leaving Miri in the gardens. Yeah, it's crap. The weatherlight, with the entire crew finally on board, races to the portal in hopes of escaping. The Predator with Grevin on board is right behind them. As the Predator grows closer, Hannah decides that it's probably the right time to tell Gerrard that the Sky Shaper that Karn found has been attached to the engine. They have no idea what the piece of the Legacy does, but Gerrard decides that it can't make things any worse. They activate the Sky Shaper and their speed increases by a ridiculous amount. They zoom towards the portal faster than they ever thought possible. The Predator is also increasing speed, but still unable to catch the weatherlight. As the ship approaches, they see the portal has been activated. Shadow people are rushing through it, and Urtai is hanging from a rope ready to jump down and join them. The weatherlight continues to increase in speed, and there's nothing the crew can do to stop it. In an instant, they fly right through the portal, no idea where they're going. As they pass through, Gerrard and Urtai catch each other's gaze. Urtai looks scared and angry. The weatherlight gets through the portal closes, the Predator crashes into the side of the portal, collapsing it and cracking the deck of the ship. The impact causes Urtai to fall to the ground. As he stands back up, he's met by a very disgruntled Grevin Ilvect. Jeez. Yeah, that's where it ends. Vrath escapes, the weatherlight is somewhere, we don't know where, and Urtai is stuck on Rath with Grevin Ilvect, who honestly has had a pretty bad day, all things considered. I know I said I didn't think Urtai was the best, but man, no one deserves that. I'm just so sad right now. Anyways, right, what do you think? The end you expected? Things tend to fall apart really quickly in this universe. I need to know how you feel. Hashtag save Urtai, someone. Please, just how depressing. Right, okay, remember, the story doesn't end here. Our next video will continue the story, and no, it will not take months to come out, so there. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.